everyone. So I just came back from seeing the movie Steve Jobs. This is, of course, a movie directed by Danny Boyle that is about the life of Steve Jobs, Apple's CEO and founder. And this is a movie that stars Michael Fassbender as Steve Jobs, has Kate Winslet as his kind of long-suffering PR rep, I think, / secretary / I'm not sure what else, but she's great in the part and in the role. And then you have Seth Rogen as playing Steve Wozniak, and Jeff Daniels playing John Sculley, who at least was accused of firing Steve Jobs from Apple. The movie kind of takes the format of following 3 launches of Apple's products. And they pack everything in as if sort of everything happened on the days of these launches. And, the personal stuff with his daughter, the stuff with Wozniak, the stuff with everything happened in these 1 days, as well as the launching of the product. And so you have to kind of buy into that in order for the movie to work. And so I was fine with that. And Aaron Sorkin does a really good job in writing the dialogue and making it really snappy, just kind of like he always does. I'm not the biggest Aaron Sorkin fan. I feel like his characters are sometimes very one note. And I do kind of feel that way about this. You have Steve Jobs basically portrayed as this bully and as this sort of visionary, but not really a visionary, who kind of takes the credit for other people's ideas. He's like a good salesman. That's a pitch man. He's a pitch man, kind of like... but he's almost never shown to have any warmth or any softness. There's a few little moments, but he's definitely a bulldozer. My favorite was his interactions with the Scully character and with Joanna, because those were the moments where you actually got a little bit of heart in the conversation, and you got to know a little bit sort of more about him and his philosophy for life. I like that. And it definitely builds tension very well, and you really do sort of feel the brilliance and also the tension of these launches. And I think that does a really good job with that. And it's, like I said, it's a very well-made movie. The acting is great, and it is pleasant to watch. I enjoyed it. But it did leave me feeling a little bit cold, like a lot of Sorkin movies. And the reason why it left me feeling a little bit cold, I read Creativity Incorporated by Ed Catmull about the founding of Pixar. And Pixar would not have happened without Steve Jobs. That is flat out absolutely true. And Steve Jobs bought Pixar in 1986 when they were still selling computer units and doing little SIGGRAPH shorts on the side. They were just starting to do animation, but he held through with Pixar for 8 years before they made any money. And so tell me that's not a person who has some passion and who believes in things and, isn't only out for sort of the ego and he's willing to stick his neck out for a company that lost him money for 8 years. I think that says something. And you just look at the way that they do talk about his bullishness, and they do talk about the way that he would kind of steamroll things in the book. But they also just talk about how he believed in people. And I wish you got a little bit of that in the movie. You really don't. I mean, he's kind of horrible to his daughter, even though he has moments where he does love her. He won't admit that he is the father. And they try to say that the reason why he has this issues with his daughter is because of getting denied twice as an adopted child, and his mother deciding not to love him for a year because of the adoptive issues. They try to kind of claim that is the problem. But if you read Creativity Incorporated, it's so clear how much the people at Pixar loved him and how he was a creative force in encouraging them to go public and also in challenging them on many of their movies. Brad Bird talks about in here about when in one storyboard conference about how Steve Jobs said that the artwork in The Incredibles looked like Saturday morning cartoons, and he was super offended, but it really challenged him to make it better. And there's just so many examples of things like that, where he insisted upon quality, and he had a passion, and he really believed in the people at Pixar. And as an animation fan, I don't take that lightly because I love Pixar. And I just look at what Ed Catmull says about Steve Jobs. He said, stood off to the side thinking about the man who'd been Pixar's fiercest champion and a close friend. It fell on me to speak first. There were so many things I could say about Steve, how he bought the division that would become Pixar from George Lucas in 1986, saving us from extinction, how he encouraged us to embark on our first feature film, Toy Story, 3 years later, when the idea of a computer-animated film still seemed beyond our reach, how he'd solidified our future by selling us to Disney, and then ensured our autonomy by orchestrating a merger that created a true partnership, how he helped take us from 43 employees to 1,100 men and women who stood in front of me now. Looking back, I could recall the earliest moments of our relationship, him probing and poking, me honing and fortifying my ideas. He had made me more focused, more resilient, smarter, better. Over time, I had come to rely on his demanding specificity, which never failed to help me clarify my own thinking. I could already feel the weight of his absence. And then they all go on. Pete Docter talks about how much he is going to miss him, and Brad Bird, and John Lasseter, and so many different things. He says that Brad Bird says, Steve held the bar for quality. He was always about the long run. He was into Buddhism, but I see him more as just being a spiritual guy. I have to believe that he believed in something beyond this. He hesitated, overcome for a moment, and that's where we'll see him again, where cream rises to the top. So here's to you, Steve, and to the long run. And I just wish we gotten more of that feeling a little bit. You don't have to be sentimental. You don't have to be cloying, but more of the sense of how he inspired people that worked for him, not just the people in these masses of crowds. Don't get a sense of the relationships that he inspired, which clearly he did. You look at these quotes, and so, I don't know, that's what's frustrating me about the movie, because I just felt like it was really one-sided. And for somebody that's actually a real person, I don't think that's really very fair. So, I don't know, that was my thoughts, but it was entertaining, and it was well-acted and well-made, and I did enjoy it. But that's kind of, what I thought. So, let me know what you think of Steve Jobs if you get to see it. And if you've read Creativity Incorporated, I'd love to know what you thought, because I think it's a super good book. So, thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.